A lot of people like to sit down and blame the Most High for the afflictions and the griefs that we see the world or we personally go through in life. Yeshua said, let the dead bury the dead. With that being an interpretation that they were living an ungodly life and they were dead in the spirit anyway. They were already doomed for worldly and spiritually death. So by living a worldly death through sin. So let that spiritually dead person that was already dead bury themselves. And let those that are worshiping and acting among them, let them bury themselves. We've seen that this country was built, even though it was built on racism, hatred, segregation, manipulating the masses, slavery, Wall Street with bondage of men and women, is the bond slaves, that it still carried the characteristics and the laws with the Constitution that fell underneath the same rules and laws of Moses. We see that every city and state is built off of these rules and laws of Moses. We see the morality of this country, that it carried itself to come into the riches and the glory that it has was off of the rules and the laws of Moses, by God, from God. We see that our Constitution, along with the Pledge of Allegiance and the God Bless America, was all built and fashioned around, brought into the fulfillment in the riches of the world by the Word of God. So, where do the afflictions and the grief come in? You take yourself away from God and replace him with the LGTB. You take him out of the schools and replace him with ideologies, beliefs, and atrocities of everything that he stood for. You take him out of people's lives by saying it's scientifical, it's logical. Take out the spiritual discernment because there's an alien up above that you should believe in. Let's give him a hologram for a strong delusion. Let's mix up their entertainment and their music with things that will busy them to fall into the atrocities and make them want to be what they see. We see little Kim was looking beautiful and just a caramel little chocolate butterscotch thing, and now she looks just like, I don't know what the hell she looks like. She looked like she would be related to one of the Kardashians. Long way from Brooklyn to go to Armenia. Goes to show you what the sorcery box and illusions of technology will do to somebody. Once you take God out of the system, out of your life, out of the things around you, you open up doors and pathways to Satan. You start dibble-dabbling and letting your guard down for him to draw you into his playground. Now I'm going to read from the Old Testament of Lamentations, chapter 3, 31 through 33. It states that the Lord does not reject forever, but first afflicts, then he pardons in his abundant kindness. For he does not willfully bring grief or affliction to man, so to break it down unless man brings it upon himself, because even Adam and Eve, he gave dominion of everything, every bird, every seed, every fruit of the trees, dominion over. So Adam was the fool and gave up that dominion because he wasn't spiritually He steadfast. He was, his foundation was spiritually founded. Gave up his dominion. You have a free will and a dominion to make the decisions you make. Once you sit down and you start dibbling dabbling in Satan's playground, being a part of something, you've opened up other doors and other pathways to atrocities. I've had friends that have lost their little children and bless their souls and the families that they have and the things that they've had to go through, and bless the ones that have had to go through everything that they're going through also in Florida with the mass shooting that is historical for USA's history. With that being said, they gave up on the love of God. They said, why would God cause this? So I told them to go and look at their lives and everything that they did. Because if you were a part of every little bad thing that had to do with something, if you sat down and kept negativity in your household and drama and every other little foul little thing, guess what that means? That means that you opened up a doorway and a pathway to Satan. For him to hurry up and snatch him a soul real quick while that door is open. And you trust and believe that he's very quick in snatching things up. Now, remember when I told you, you can't have the old without the new, not the new without the old. You can't have peanut butter without any jelly. And you can't sit down and have any cereal unless you have your milk. With that being said, let's jump on to chapter 16, John, verse 33, where it sits down and it states, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulations and problems, afflictions and grief. But take heart, for I have overcome the world. So if I can overcome the world and you have faith and you believe and you're trying to live a path of righteousness, then guess what? You can overcome too. Yeshua has taken on afflictions, pain, blasphemy. He's had his family not believe in him, and even his own hometown. We have seen this with Moses, Joseph, Ezekiel, Zechariah, Ishmael, and on and on and on and on. And they all have stood fast and a foundation that was a solid rock of spirituality, carrying the substance of God by tradition, and overcame. To overcome is to spiritually be in tune and carry the characteristics and the traits and the armor of God. So if they can overcome and you believe, so can you.